that needed to be done was to get, for all the weapons that were being purchased, or built-in purchased without serial numbers and so forth, it was to get end-user certificates for all these weapons so that it could be stated they came from a different country than the United States, since the Boland Amendment didn't allow us to provide weaponry into particular countries. Mr. Palme, the Prime Minister of Sweden, was approached. The whole plan was laid out on his lap, and he chose not to participate. He was dead within weeks.
Well, now, wasn't he supposedly killed by mistake by somebody from the Mossad?
He was, from what I understand,
is that a cover story?
Killed by a South African. No, that's you're thinking of Mike Harari's mistake in shooting a waiter.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
Right.
And how'd they kill him? How'd they eliminate him?
He was shot. I'm pretty sure he was shot.
And, well, in the name of national security, right?
In the name of national security. No one could ever know that that's what was going on.
Yeah, they always say, oh, we can't give that information out in the interest of national security. But the real bottom line is money, greed, and, you know, let's take care of me and to heck with you. Anything more you want to mention about George Bush at all?
I think that's just about it for now.
Wow, that's very heavy, Chip. Well, I heard that Bush has been, and some of the other top administrative officials have been indicted in one of the Central American countries. Is Costa Rica or where?
Costa Rica didn't indict Mr. Bush. They indicted Oliver North and Joe Fernandez and one other. I'm not sure. Well, several others, but those are the two that I'm sure of that I've read the indictments on. They're persona non grata. If they show up in that country, they'll be arrested for trafficking narcotics.
Oh, is there any way we can get them to go down there?
well, we certainly get people to go in and kidnap people to come here, but I think if we did that, their entourage and their leaders would be very unhappy, and that Costa Rica would become another appendage of the United States real quick.
Well, now, I also have heard through my very sources that Costa Rica is heavily infiltrated with DEA agents and it's a heavy drug center now in most recent years. Is that right?
Always has been.
And they're being controlled by whom? By the U.S. government?
Well, by someone. Having been out of the system now since 1992, I don't know, but I know that there are a lot of government officials, government people that have retired and gone down there to work. A lot of government people.
And
who are, quote, retired, I should say.
Beg your pardon?
Who are, quote, retired.
Yes. And they're actually working in the intelligence community down there and working on the drug operation, you think?
I believe many of them are.
Okay, folks, time for a quick break. Be right back. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. And we're back. My guest today is Chip Tatum. Chip, we just have about 4 more minutes on the first hour. I wanted to get into the McCaffrey, General McCaffrey, who is the drug czar appointed by Clinton. We'll do that on the second hour. I have some intelligence information on him that will shock America. And also, you're familiar with how they've shut down radar periodically and said that they had mechanical problems?
Sure.
I have been told by my sources that this is a subterfuge in order to make drops around the country. Is that right?
That's one way. There's other ways, too. I'll tell you about those.
Let's go into that in the second hour, and we'll have more time to discuss it. And, Chip, what about another area I want to get into? Is there something that we can talk for about 3 or 4 minutes now? Because some of these topics that I want to ask you about are going to be much more involved in that.
Well, as you talk about the ways that there are to drop radar, we've built a line of radar across the Caribbean, all the way across Central America and out into the Pacific. The locations of that line of radar should be able to fend off any flights that come through. But somehow flights are able to come through. That system was set up when I told you about that over 18 tons that was flown all the way from in numerous sorties and numerous flights by numerous cartels, various cartel members from Colombia into Mexico with the support of the Mexican government regime at the time. And I think we can talk about that in just a minute, too.
Yeah, well, I was specifically referring to was in New York here several months ago, the radar shut down, and they had a problem landing airplanes at the Kennedy Airport and also LaGuardia. And also in Indiana, it's been a common practice situation, also on the West Coast. and I've been told that they shut the radar down, claiming that there's mechanical problems, but actually what they're doing is they're making some critical drops by plane, so there's no record of it. Have you heard about that?
I've heard of instances like that happening, yes, and that's a plausible answer.
So, do you have knowledge of that? Personal knowledge?
I have personal knowledge of it in the southern areas, not up in the central U.S.
Well, what do you mean southern areas?
Well, in central United States, you know, there are so many places that it can be dropped where there is no radar. Why go into a huge metro radar zone? That's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Why get into that particular problem when there are enormous, vast amounts of land in the United States that are non-coverage for radar?
Well, so as a pilot, you would know what those areas are, and you would be able to maneuver your way up into the various states and make your drop without being detected. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Real easy. You can buy a little Cobra radar detector and put it in your aircraft. You'll know whether you're being tracked by radar or not.
And if you are, what do? You go high, low, or you go do a U-turn, or what?
You just go lower. You mask yourself behind some hills or something, and you drop out of that 5,000-foot range, get down into below 500 or below, and no one will catch you.
500 or below? That's pretty low, isn't it?
I never liked to fly the helicopters. I flew higher than I was willing to fall, so I stayed about 10 feet off the ground.
Oh, really?
That's correct. The only thing above the trees were my main rotor blades.
Oh, wow. Well, you must be a fantastic pilot then, huh?
They say I'm one of the best, according to those who were at numerous...
according
hearings.
to Mr. Peepers.
Pardon me?
According to Mr. Peepers.
Peepers and other crew members. That's right.
Are you going to be using that in your civilian life, you think?
I don't think so. Although there is a heavy... other countries have asked me to provide training for their pilots on how I fly under radar.
Quick break. We'll be back in the second hour in just a few minutes. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. And good morning, all you beautiful people across this great land of ours, the United States of America, and good morning to our folks and our friends up in Canada and down in Mexico. You know, the president's coming down to see you Monday in Mexico, and he's going to talk about, among other things, drugs. That's what we're talking about on the show today. And also to our friends in Central and South America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. Welcome to the Ted Gunderson Intelligence Report. My guest again today is Chip Tatum, Chip Tatum, 25-year CIA operative who has come forward and telling us like it is. And we just finished our first hour, which was not shortwave, but we are going on into the second hour of this show. And for those of you who would like to hear what happened on the first hour of each of these shows, we are offering a package deal, 12 hours, 6 shows, 2 hours for each show, audio, $49.95. Dial 1-800-205-6245. And for our friends who are overseas and where the 100 number does not work, you can fax to 970-587-5450, and that's Johnstown, Colorado. For our friends overseas, and we heard from a friend in England yesterday, we've heard from South Wales, 970-587-5450, Johnstown, Colorado. That'll give you the country and the city code. And for the rest of you, you've got to get these tapes, folks. 800-205-6245. They're a perfect gift for a friend to educate him, her. What a wonderful opportunity when you're driving across country this summer on your vacation to flip one of these tapes in and hear 12 hours of Chip Tatum tell it like it is. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Now, during the first hour, I mentioned we were talking about the invasion of Panama, and I have a video that's available. It's called the Panama Deception, and it talks and it shows about how our boys went in and killed civilians, burned out their homes, murdered thousands of civilians and Panamanian soldiers, and had dug big trenches and had mass graves in order to hide the bodies, just like the Nazis did in World War II. And I was asked, I mentioned I have this video. It's an hour and 43 minutes long. And if you want a copy of this video, you can write to Ted Gunderson, Post Office Box 18,000, that's 18000-259, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89109, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89109, and that's $35 for that video. And Chip, I'll get one to you after the show. I'll get your address again. By the way, I dropped that other package to you yesterday.
Good.
That I told you I'd send to you.
Good. I look forward to getting it.
Yes, it's in the mail right now, as a matter of fact. So, folks, if you want a copy of this Panama Deception, you've got to see it. It's just unbelievable. I never thought I'd see American boys, 18, 19, 20-year-old boys, murdering people and just blowing them away. I never thought I'd ever see that. But, of course, let's face it, right after World War II, our country brought a bunch of Nazis in, scientists and other leaders, and they've infiltrated into our system. And who can say that they didn't infiltrate into the Army? Our whole system has changed, and we need to be alert to it. You need to tell your friends about it. Okay, in the first hour with Chip, we were talking about Operation Red Rock again. That was where the United States, including Chip, went in and bombed the Cambodian airport, Cambodia being our friend. President Nixon gave the orders. We talked about, I'm giving a little summary, folks, in order, because you didn't hear the first hour. We talked about how the CIA, when you know too much, they do one of two things. They neutralize you through assassination, or they convict you of a crime, and you've been neutralized after that. And in the Red Rock situation, where they raided the Cambodian airport, there were orders given by President Nixon to kill all the people that participated in the raid. And you take it from there. You wanted to repeat their names on the second.
I did. Thanks, Ted. The members of Team Red Rock and their fates, as written in Team Red Rock, and I hope in history, this has been filed with the Library of Congress, and a copy has been sent to the White House Library. Killed by friendly fire was Super Cop, who was a northeastern United States former intelligence naval officer and Navy SEAL. Super Cop was killed by U.S. F-4 fighters attacking an anti-aircraft artillery site in Cambodia that we had just finished attacking. Chief was an American Indian, Green Beret. Chief was killed by the door guns of a CH-53 Jolly Green at our pickup zone. Cajun from Louisiana was CIA. Cajun was killed by the door guns of a CH-53 Jolly Green at our pickup zone. Killed by enemy fire was the kid, a Vietnamese American. His folks worked in the embassy. The kid was killed by NVA patrol as Red Rock crossed an open field. Those of us who are, this is the fate of Team Red Rock by their captors.
Chip, that first group, when you talk about the drop zone, that was where the instructions were given that you should all be blown away after you attacked the airport, and you were being transported to the drop zone, and the people that were transporting you, were they Americans?
They were Montagnard Vietnamese mountain men.
Okay, they were mountain men, and they
trained by the CIA normally.
They what?
They were trained by special forces in the CIA.
And they transported you part way. It was 15 miles to the drop zone, and they'd only taken you a short distance. They stopped. You heard them cracking their rifles. Your sergeant threw a grenade out. They ducked. You went out and eliminated. Was that it?
That's correct.
Okay.
We interrogated them before we eliminated them, but that way we found out exactly what was going on and what we could expect.
And this is in your Chronicles?
This is in Operation Red Rock, the book I just finished.
Okay. How do people get a hold of this?
They would have to send directly to me. It's $24.95. It's only in manuscript form, folks, but I can personalize it for you and sign Operation Red Rock. It's $24.95, and if you'll send that to post care of Chip Tatum or Nancy Tatum, Post Office Box 895-082.
We'll get into that in a minute. Let's just come back with the address. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. No question about it. Be right back, folks. And we're back. My guest is Gene Chip Tatum. And Chip, you were talking about your men that were killed. Go ahead.
All right, they can get a copy of Operation Red Rock by writing directly to me at Post Office Box 895-082, 895-082, Leesburg, Florida, 34789. That zip again is 34789. My mom just finished her review of the book, folks.
Who did?
My mother.
Yeah?
She's the only person that's read it. She laughed, she cried, and she was mad at the end.
Give us that address again.
Post Office Box 895-082, Leesburg, Florida, 34789, and that's $24.95.
Just give me that zip again.
34789.
89. 20. How much?
$24.95.
$24.95. Okay, folks, you better get that. Let's get this word out, and go ahead with the men that were killed and tell how they were killed. That were on this mission, Operation Red Rock.
The remainder of the team was captured by the North Vietnamese as we tried to work our way back to North Vietnam through Cambodia. My Way was our platoon leader. He was a U.S. Army captain, Green Beret. My Way was tortured to death by a Chinese